the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
The Vols run game will be better in 2024 than in 2023 because I've seen a lot of Tennessee fans, and I think if you average, I'm curious if you believe this too. If we polled the average Tennessee Vol fan around Knoxville, like we go into Litton's tomorrow afternoon, Ryan. Granted, I mean, it's going to be pretty snowy, so I don't think anything's going to be open here in East Tennessee. But if we were, I think if we polled the average Vol fan at Litton's and we asked them this question, I think they would say it should be better. And my gut instinct is no. I actually think the running game will not be better. And I think people are going to be surprised at how underrated Jaylen Wright was for Tennessee this past year. And where we both think about Dylan Sampson to this point as a lead back, not a change of pace guy, not like he had some moments. He had a solid day against Iowa, but I'm curious if you think it will be better because I think if you ask most Vol fans, they would expect it to be better in 2024.
I saw this on the outline, and it's funny you say that. As I saw this on the outline, to me, it felt like the obvious answer was no. Like, Jaylen Wright was really, really good. He was no worse than the third best back in the SEC. I'd probably put him the second best back behind Cody Schrader and ahead of Ray Davis and Quinshon Judkins. So, to me, I feel like it'll be worse. Not massively worse, like not an issue worse, but I don't think it'll be as good. And look, a lot of it depends on how Dylan Sampson develops. Like Jaylen Wright came in as a dude that didn't have great vision and didn't play with great pad level and didn't break a bunch of tackles, and it was a real good runner between the tackles. He came in the way we've seen Dylan Sampson as a speed dude who wanted to run around everybody. I mean, Jaylen Wright had in his freshman year when he kind of got thrust into a bigger role when Tyon Evans had his injury transfer. I don't remember all the timeline of all of that. And he had some, hilariously bad vision reads. And it was pretty incredible how much he developed. Now that was 2 years before he had his big breakout year. And I thought I know myself, and I think you were too, really high on Jaylen Wright going into last year with some of the signs he showed the back half of the 22 season. And Dylan Sampson's a great playmaker. Just not sure he's a great running back yet. So a lot of it depends on how much more he develops, how much better he can get in the offseason. And, you can say the same for Cam Seldon, because those dudes complement each other really well. They're two completely different changes of pace. But yeah, my initial instinct or natural instinct is that it'll be worse, just not a ton worse.
And it won't matter as much if Nico is Nico. Now, it will matter if the receivers struggle just as much as they did this past year. Like if the receivers are still having those kind of issues and the running game takes a step back, then you're in a precarious situation, I think, in Knoxville week over week. But I just think Jaylen Wright, he's an NFL back, and I'm not sure. We'll see with Dylan Sampson. I think, like you said, they're so different between him and Cam Seldon. I think it's actually more about Cam than it is about Dylan, because I think we know what Dylan Sampson is. I don't think there's another level. Like we saw Jaylen Wright just unlock another level year over year and build on stuff. I think we have a pretty good idea of what Dylan Sampson is. I don't think we have any idea what Cam Seldon could be. I think the potential is higher as a running back at Tennessee. I think the ceiling is significantly higher for him than Dylan. And I think that's the biggest difference is because you ran Jabari Small at the number 2 guy. It wasn't Dylan Sampson who was the backup for Jaylen Wright last year. So if Cam Seldon is a significant upgrade, change of pace guy from Jabari Small, then I think the running game will be better. Like if you are able to get just 75% of Jaylen Wright from Dylan Sampson, but Cam Seldon is a humongous upgrade from Jabari Small in terms of just electricity and keeping, just scaring opposing defenses from series to series, then there's a path to this running game being better. So I think for me, it falls more on Cam Seldon than Dylan Sampson.
That's probably fair, just from the standpoint of I don't think we really know what Tennessee has in Cam Seldon at all. We didn't see him much this year. I mean, we didn't know what position he was going to play before he got to Tennessee, whether it was going to be receiver and running back, because of just how interesting or different or how many multiple things he did in high school. So, yeah, I can see that, and I still think there's some variance of what Dylan Sampson can be as a true running back, but you don't have the depth, and you look at who's their third back. Injuries. Tennessee got really blessed this year. And the 1 year when Tennessee really could have afforded a running back injury, they stayed healthy the entire year. And you look ahead to next year, and certainly Peyton Lewis is a really talented dude. And Khalif Keith has been on campus for a year, but who's Tennessee's third back? What did they give him? What happens if there's an injury? Like, there's a lot more questions about the running back room going into next year, and obviously when you have questions, it's not always a bad thing, and it's just more about a variance of the ceiling and the floor, and I think that's very true about Tennessee's running back room going into next season.
I don't disagree. Final thing here, Ryan Schumpert, weekly baseball player spotlight we're doing ahead of the college baseball season, just over a month away here. Dylan Dreiling, what makes him great, why he'll be the everyday left fielder, and how he has evolved as a player since he first stepped on campus, and why Tennessee fans should be very excited about his future in Knoxville.
Well, to start,
Go. Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.